I'm going to be smoking the Palencia Alma Fuerte here today with my interview with the sheriff. And the sheriff's enjoying
Liga Privada, the H99.
H99.
Very good smoke.
Very good. Very good sticks. Very good sticks we got here. And we really appreciate the ladies and gentlemen here at Pipe and Pint for sponsoring today's episode. And we got us actually a good conversation, a nice stick to light up here, if you would.
That's right.
Hey, welcome back to Whiskey, Sticks, and Politics. I'm your host, and again here this afternoon, I got with us a very strong pour, but also a good stick to light up. And the conversation we're going to be working on today is with our Durham candidate, the current sheriff of Durham, that's also running again for his position. And essentially, I want to tell you a little bit about Sheriff Birkhead and sort of what we got going on here, guys, because we got a lot for you. Now, this man has spent over 40 years walking that thin blue line from the foothills of Randolph County to the halls of Duke University. And now he's the man wearing the star here in Durham. He graduated from Shaw and Pfeiffer and a father of three and a leader who spent his career streamlining departments and building bridges between the badge and the backyard. He's been a chief of police, a security consultant, and now he's leading the Durham County Sheriff's Office through some of the most complex times in North Carolina history right now. Now, today we're going to be digging into the triple crown of law enforcement, the reality of immigration on the ground, and why the HEART program might be the future of how we see law enforcement moving forward across this country. So please sit back, Whiskey, Sticks, and Politics audience, and help me welcome Sheriff Birkhead here today.
Thank you so much, Rashad, for that warm and thorough introduction. I'm certainly happy to be here, and I look forward to your questions and hopefully providing information to your listeners and your viewers about what we do here in Durham County and across the state, because I touch a lot of areas through my affiliations and associations. But right here, Durham is home, and so happy to be the sheriff of Durham County. Absolutely.
And we've been appreciating you calling Durham home. But we know you started out in Randolph County back in 84, And then you went to Duke and the chief of police in Hillsborough. Yeah. So you've kind of been on the private side as well as the public side, I guess they call it, of law enforcement. So tell me, like with those 17 years working at Duke University, how do you feel like that prepared you for your role as sheriff right now?
Oh, that's an excellent question. And if anyone is familiar with Duke University, it is a microcosm of Durham or any city. And so the political winds at Duke University, both on the medical center side and the university side, I think fully prepared me for a life in politics.
Right.
Because you had to navigate the student population, you had to navigate the academics, the professors and the whatnots. And then you also had to deal with the medical side and understand what goes on in Big Duke, as they call it here in Durham, or at regional or the smaller clinics. So I had an opportunity to sit in the Board of Trustees room meetings and sit in the CEO's meeting at the hospital and just understand how things work. Again, politics of a prestigious university in the South, majority white, what it does in Durham, how they connect with the city of Durham. And so I really think those years prepared me. And then as a leader in the Durham, in the Duke University Police Department, helped me to hone my skills of organizational leadership and management and how we allocate resources and what law enforcement looks like, not just on a college campus, but in the city of Durham, working closely with the Durham Police Department at that time. So I think it fully prepared me for where I am today.
Right. No, and I understand that. And one thing that you said just now that stood out to me was how working at the police department at Duke, it was really like kind of like a small version of working for Durham.
That's right.
And so when you said some of the wins that you had at the Duke University, working with Duke University's campus police, what sort of wins did you have there that helped to benefit Durhamites? Yeah,
absolutely. One of the things I'm most proud of is I had a great relationship with the chief of police at that time, who was Steve Chalmers. Still a great friend today. But we worked closely to make sure that when Duke students came off campus, they were still safe, but they also were held accountable under the university code. And the Duke Police Department, which the jurisdiction is the campus, we were able to pass legislation to get our jurisdiction extended to 3 or 4 blocks just beyond the campus, so we could work in the community. And in that contiguous area is where most of the students live, where the frat houses were, where some of the professor housing was. And so I felt like it was incumbent upon me as the chief of police at Duke to deliver some service to those Duke employees and those Duke students who live in the communities in Durham. And so Chief Chalmers and I worked together. We had sort of this understanding that we'll come and assist the Durham Police Department, or we'll take the call because it's contiguous to campus. And passing that legislation was huge because it expanded our ability to work in the community and give back to the Durham community,
for sure,
while also making sure that the Duke employees, faculty, and staff and students were serviced as well inside that area. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. As a student at North Carolina Central University, we often had meetings with our police department. And so they would talk to us a lot about, their job and being able to respond to calls that involve students. How do you, like as being that you ran the campus police department and even moving over to sheriff, what's that breakdown on responsibility, and why is that important to have, the correct hierarchy to respond to those types of calls, when it involves students versus the regular Durham population?
Yeah, working on a college campus is obviously different. And you are dealing with 18 to 23-year-olds. And we've all been 18 and 23 before. And we're going to live forever. We're going to conquer the world and no one can tell us anything. And so you have to understand how to police a population like that. And I actually would like to say you have to learn how to serve a population like that. Because these young people are trying to find their identity. And so they're going to fracture a few laws along the way. They're going to violate the student code of conduct along the way. And so a law enforcement professional on a college campus has to understand that and be able to communicate that, talk to the students, give them guidance. And at the end of the day, sometimes you got to hold them accountable. But it's a different type of policing. And that has certainly helped me serving at Chief of Police in Hillsborough, now serving as the sheriff of Durham County, because again, the pillars are the same. You want to treat people with dignity and respect. You want to be compassionate and consistent. And certainly when you're dealing with a younger population, you want to be able to relate to them and let them know that you're here to help them if they receive it. But you also have a job to do. And the ultimate job is to make sure they're safe. Make sure they are protected and that you protect the educational environment. And so that night and day, but very similar, policing on a college campus versus a city.
I think you said something monumental there that I think has helped shine a great light on law enforcement, where you treat people with dignity, compassion, and consistency. Right. Yeah. And I think when it comes to dealing with the legal system, coming from, say, the African-American community, the Black community, whatever we call it ourselves these days, it hasn't always been the best situations. And you mentioned it earlier, even when you were working with the Durham police, the Duke campus police, that you were in a room having to make calls or give viewpoints, and you were the only person that looked like yourself in the room.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So dealing with that and Durham's dynamic, how have you seen that change since '84?
Wow. Durham is Black.
Tell them again. And it's dope.
So recognizing the rich history of Durham and its Blackness and its Black Wall Street and the leaders that have come from Durham through Durham, we have to recognize that. And also, I think I've always been a student of law enforcement. So I recognize that the history of law enforcement in this country has not always been a shining star or a beacon of hope. It's often been the hammer of oppression. And so I have to embrace that and understand that. We know the sheriff's office, depending on which book you read, started with slave patrol. And so we have to recognize that history, but then we have to be intentional about changing that moving forward. We're not going to erase the history, but we have to understand it. And so for me, policing in Durham as the Black sheriff, the first African-American to serve as sheriff in Durham County in its 140 plus years of existence. Is an honor. But it's a tremendous responsibility on my shoulders to carry it forward as a Black man. I tell people all the time, they say, how are you policing the Black community? How does that feel? And I said, well, it feels like the first thing I do in the morning, look in the mirror and recognize I'm Black. And I have to be my authentic self. I've been trained as a professional. I understand what policing is all about, and I understand 21st policing, but I also understand who I am. And so I try to police my community and instill my deputies to do the same way in the way I would want to be policed and treated. And so recognizing the rich diversity of Durham, and that you asked me, how has that changed since I've been in Durham? Black population numbers are going down. Other ethnicities is on the increase. And I think that's a testament to what's going on in Durham. All of the education. We've got North Carolina Central, Duke University, Durham Tech, but we've also got Research Triangle Park.
Absolutely, yes.
We've got the largest research institutions in Research Triangle Park, which is my responsibility to provide service for that area. It's growing. And so people are recognizing, people from all walks of life are recognizing what's going on in Durham. So our diversity is increasing. Our immigrant population is increasing. All immigrant population, whether you're Liberian, European, African-American, Nigerian, they're all right here in Durham. And as the chief law enforcement officer in Durham, we have to be able to serve all of those populations and let them understand what we're about.
Absolutely. Showing up and being your authentic self. And I think that was one of the biggest takeaways for me when you said you get up and you look at yourself in the mirror and realizing that I'm not only just, responsible for people that look like me, I'm responsible for a whole swath of different cultures and societies that meet in Durham. And I think being that there are so many, that can be a tall tale sign that things are trending in the right direction. Would you
agree? Oh, absolutely. I think Durham is certainly trending in the right direction. And as leaders in the city and the county, it's incumbent upon us to make sure that we continue that positive trend, that people can come here, live, work, thrive, and raise a family in an environment that is conducive to allowing you to express yourself, but also be intentional about the public's safety, making sure people are safe.
Right. And so as we're talking about how things are improving and some of the hard work that you've been able to do to sort of streamline, Duke's security and working on improving the police department currently, your department's received what they call the Triple Crown, right?
Right.
And for me, when I think Triple Crown, I'm thinking of Kentucky Derby. Let me see which one of these horses got a funny enough name for me to put some money down. Right? Because I know absolutely nothing about horse racing. But shout out to the Kentucky Derby. If you enjoy, have a good time. Drink responsibly from the sheriff's office.
Right. That's right. Absolutely.
But when we talk shop and we're talking about the Triple Crown, let's tell my audience what the Triple Crown is and why they should be proud that our department got that.
Absolutely. In the professional arena of law enforcement, particularly sheriff's offices, the National Sheriff's Association has an award called the Triple Crown. And it's when an agency has achieved the highest standard of efficiency and professionalism through CALEA, Commission of Law Enforcement Agencies, ACA, which is American Correctional Association. And we all run hospitals or infirmaries inside our detention center. And so we have to be commissioned and accredited by the National Corrections Healthcare Association, NCCHC. So that means...
So many acronyms. I'll have them we'll put them on the screen for y'all too.
So that means not only are we housing those who are involved in the criminal justice system awaiting trial, because that's what we do. Jails hold people while they're awaiting trial.
Yes.
We do it at the highest level. Okay. And so we have all three Triple Crown of those certifications or accreditations. Only 79 agencies in the country have that distinction. I am happy to say I am one of 3 in North Carolina that have that distinction. And so it is a tremendous accomplishment.
Congratulations, Chef.
Thank you. A credit to my staff, to the leadership of the Durham County Sheriff's Office, working with us to make sure we meet these standards, not just in policy and procedure, but in practice.
Right.
And we're evaluated by all three of those accrediting bodies on a 3-year rolling cycle. Mm-hmm. And so we just can't say we got it, we've arrived, and we're done. Right. We have to continue. It's a continuous process.
Like a renewal or Absolutely. Like a recertification almost, right?
Every 3 years.
Every 3 years.
You have to go through it.
No, I think that's great. I didn't know that you all were held to those sort of standards.
Yes.
And I appreciate you educating the audience and myself on that today, right? Yeah. Because when you think of jail, you don't necessarily think of healthcare, right? And that's a standard that you all are held to.
Absolutely. Rashad, 60% of my population that's housed, and today, unfortunately, we have about 450 individuals under my care and custody. 60% of those individuals suffer from an addiction or a mental health issue or both. And so I have to have mental health in my facility, as we do. I have to have an infirmary that can handle not just a cold or a cough or a pain, but we handle some chronic illnesses. And we work closely with Duke University Hospital, with our clinics in Durham, to make sure that we can get those detainees to the facilities where they can get the treatment that they need. And I'm happy to do that. It's unfortunate that we have to have those mental health treatment in our facility. But if I don't do it, who's going to do it? No one else is doing it in Durham to the capacity that I am. And so running that hospital, making sure that folks are fed and cared for is a number one priority at the Sheriff's Office in our detention center.
I'm noticing a recurring theme, right? Dignity, right?
Absolutely.
Treating people with dignity here. And to me, that's what that spells out, right? Just because you know, whatever your infraction against society was, you're in this situation, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to do our best to take care of you while you're with us. Right.
That's right. The statute says that everything the Sheriff's Office does is governed by statute. The Sheriff's Office is a constitutional office. And the statute says, as it relates to the detention center, for those individuals who are in the care and custody of the sheriff. So it's written that this is what I'm supposed to do.
Care and custody.
The care and custody. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That might be the title of the show, Care and Custody. No, I love that. When we talk about, just the prison system overall, if I could just kind of get some thoughts in my head out, because when I think about society and when we think about people, getting in trouble with the law, we say they've served their debt, right? They get 2 years and they do their 2 years. What will we need to do to sort of fix the perception of rehabilitation? Because it doesn't seem like you get to serve your 2 years and get back into society, right? And you have, all of the opportunities afforded for you. It just seems like if you go to jail, you're sort of written off, which you can, people can understand that, right? But how do we work on rehabilitation? Because that's really what it is. It was supposed to be, you did something wrong, you go to jail, you serve your time, right? During that process, you learn something, maybe you learn more about why it was wrong, whatever you did, whatever the rehabilitation process is. What can we do with that to sort of help those people that are trying to transition back into society after they had to come under the care and custody of the sheriff at some point?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that sometimes people will find themselves incarcerated, whether it's at a local jail or in the prison system. Jails are temporary facilities. And so I may have an opportunity to work with someone for 2 years, sometimes 5 years, and then they move on or are released. And we make it our business to help that individual re-enter society. In the Durham County Detention Facility, we run 30, 35 different programs that are geared for re-entry.
Wow.
Whether it's medication-assisted treatment to helping someone who's battling that opioid use disorder, getting them clean, setting them up with external providers so when they are released, they don't relapse.
Understood.
Giving them peer support through our peer support program, making sure, again, they make their appointments. And if they do find themselves on a relapse, they can call us so we can walk them through it and connect them. And so we have to do that. And we also educate individuals. I have individuals who are in my facility that did not finish high school. So we offer them the GED program through our relationship with Durham Technical Community College.
It's beautiful.
We offer a diploma program through a partnership with DPS, Durham Public Schools. So we've had individuals graduate with their high school diploma. We've had individuals complete their GED. And we've had folks test who are college ready. So when they are released from my facility, they can take that piece of paper, that GED or diploma, to an employer, potential employer, to get a job.
Right.
Okay. To take up a vocation. And so we do that every day, and we offer those programs. And as it relates to mental health, again, we have mental health programs in our facility for male and female. We have a mental health pod. We have restorative justice pod. So when you're working through your anger issues, when you're working through your traumas, we have counselors on hand that can help you sort of navigate those emotions. So when you get back out in the community, you won't repeat the same mistakes. And it would better prepare you to not recidivate, do the same thing to get back in my facility. And we have some of that, but we keep working with you over and over. And so preparing those individuals to get back into the community is really a huge portion of what we do at the Durham County Detention Facility.
Sheriff, that was a beautiful answer. I didn't send you that question. I did send him that question, and he handled it very well. And I appreciate that you took the time to go through what the rehabilitation process is, the programs that you all have in place, so that when these individuals are released back into the public, that there has been a process and somebody has cared for them and walked them through, whether it's getting their GED or even, just being ready for employment when they walk out the door. So it is a true rehabilitation program, and we don't have to continue to ostracize these people that have had a run-in with the law.
That's right. Yeah, and I think we have to continue to reimagine what incarceration looks like, reimagine what the criminal legal system or the criminal justice system looks like, and how we treat those who made a mistake.
Right.
And can we give them a second chance? I'm an advocate for second chances, third chances, because we don't know the situation that led them to do what they did. Okay, and so we have to take all of that into consideration and try to help them not to make those same mistakes.
Excellent. No, thank you so much. And we appreciate having people like you in this role, right? That can let us know about this other information that general population, we don't know much about what goes on behind the scenes. And speaking of, you've been the chief of police, right? And sheriff currently. Talk to me and my audience about the difference between those two positions.
Right. Yeah. That's a really good question, Rashad, because people get it confused.
Right.
They see a uniform or they see a patrol car and they think we're all the same.
Well, stop and listen. That's universal. That's right. Whether it's a chief, a cop, sheriff, pull over, listen.
That's right. And while we all have similar powers, being the sheriff takes it to a whole nother level. The sheriff, which has been around since the 1700s in this country, but longer in Europe. And so the sheriff is a constitutional office elected by the people, where it used to be appointed by the king back in the day. And so that's a major difference. The chief of police is hired by the city manager, reports to the city manager. The chief of police can be removed or terminated from office by the city manager or the city council vote, things like that. The sheriff is elected every 4 years. The only people that can remove me from the office are you.
Are the people.
The people. I report to the people. I work for the people. So that's a huge difference. My jurisdiction is countywide. So I have jurisdiction inside the city limits of Durham, but I also have jurisdiction all over the county. So when people ask me, I see your deputies in the city stopping cars. I said, well, they have the authority to do that.
Right.
Where the city police officers or the chief of police is constrained by the city limits, by the boundaries. And so having that level of authority and autonomy as the sheriff allows me to do more all across the city and the county. And that's a huge difference. We also are responsible for civil process,
right,
running the courthouse, operating the jail, as we've talked about. Those are services and duties that are written into the North Carolina Constitution that will be carried out by the sheriff and his deputies. I've used the term deputies, and sometimes they're called sheriffs also, but they are deputy sheriffs, but they are an extension of me. And so that's a lot of power and a lot of influence that the office of the sheriff can have in the community, far greater than the chief of police. Nothing wrong with being the chief of police. I've been one.
Right.
But now I'm at a place where I can do more, serve more, have a greater impact on what's going on in Durham County, including Durham City.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No. So chief of police, an appointed role. Nothing wrong with it.
Hired and appointed.
Hired and appointed role. Sheriff elected by the people. Key difference.
That's key difference.
Scope and responsibility as well.
Yes.
Two different levels. One more responsibility, but all very important to the process, right? And making sure we're keeping the citizens safe.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
If you were, like, I guess, if you had it your way, would the chief of police become an elected role, or do you feel like that should still be something that the city manager appoints?
If I had it my way.
Would the sheriff appoint him?
I'll answer the question this way. There are jurisdictions across the country where all of it comes under the auspices of the sheriff. The sheriff is the chief law enforcement officer in the county. And so Durham City has a police department that is chartered and granted that they can have a police department. Again, I'm elected. I'm written into the Constitution. There is no question as to whether or not you'll have a sheriff. The only question is, who will the sheriff be? And I'm fortunate enough to be that person today. So if I had my way in a jurisdiction like Durham City, because Durham City is in my county and Durham County. So you may have heard me coin the phrase in 2018, one community, one Durham.
Right.
Okay. And that is all encompassing of what I do as the sheriff. I serve the entire community. So I could envision folding the Durham Police Department under the umbrella of the sheriff's office. But that's a different topic for a different day. That's another podcast. But we work closely together, and I'm proud of that the men and women of the Durham Police Department work alongside my deputies every single day to serve this community. And we have that relationship. Have a relationship with the chief of police. Have a relationship with the mayor, as I mentioned. And so we're all working for the goal of making sure the public is safe.
We appreciate that hard work. And times are getting very tough, okay? And a lot of viewpoints on policing has changed. I would say it's kind of come to the forefront with the George Floyd situation. And there's been all sorts of ideas that come to the forefront dealing with how we should police, but then also with immigration. Talk to my audience a little bit about your HEART program and what that means for you. And then let's talk a little bit about immigration and some of those issues that we're facing on a national level, as well as in the city of Durham.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't mind, I'll take the immigration question first.
Oh, let's do it.
Because of where we are in this day and time and what's happening all across the country. And we've experienced it here in North Carolina with immigration enforcement sort of running amok. Okay. CBP, Custom Border Patrol officers in our jurisdiction, not following our laws, not meeting my standards of enforcement and engagement with the community. And that's an issue. I have an issue with that. I take issue with that. That's not how you make communities safe. What we've seen tragically play out, you mentioned George Floyd, but let's talk about what happened in Minneapolis earlier this week, where a single mom was gunned down in the street. I don't have the facts. I just know what I saw and I know what I'm hearing. Nonetheless, did not deserve to die at the hands of a custom border patrol officer who has no local jurisdiction in Minneapolis, who has no local jurisdiction in Durham, North Carolina. So how are you going to come in to my jurisdiction and say you're making the community safe because you're removing illegal immigrants? Really? So I have a problem with that. So immigration at the federal level, it's a federal job,
right,
needs to be reformed. But what is happening right now is not immigration reform. It's an attack on immigrant communities. And we can't stand for that. Our local law enforcement cannot stand for that. I don't cooperate in those raids with ICE. I certainly don't cooperate with Custom and Border Patrol when they come into the town. They refuse to talk to us, by the way. So there's no opportunity to deconflict to make sure they're safe,
right,
as well as my community being safe, because they don't want to hear from local law enforcement. It's complicated. It's complicated, but as the chief law enforcement officer, as the sheriff of Durham County, I'm going to do everything I can to keep all of my communities safe. And in this moment, that's the immigrant community. Okay, because they're in fear for their lives. They are refusing to send their kids to school. So we're working with the school superintendent to say, look, we have a plan to keep you safe, to come to school. Don't shut your business down. We have a plan to keep you safe. Call your local law enforcement when these things happen. So what's happening across the country is tragic and illegal. And I'll say it, tragic and illegal. But to your other question, the HEART program, you mentioned in your intro that the HEART program could be the future of law enforcement or service to the community. And I think there is a space for that. The HEART program is doing great work in the city of Durham. It's a city program started by the city manager and is now looking to expand. I welcome that partnership. And there's models out there where we can make it very efficient to serve our community, particularly those who are suffering from a mental health issue or a cognitive disability. And that's what the HEART program is all about.
So the HEART program, we're running across the screen. The HEART program, it stands for, what's that? Holistic.
Empathetic. Go ahead.
Holistic, empathetic assistance response team, right? And essentially, when it's just somebody that's going to show up for a certain call. Right. They may not have a gun, right? That's what people hear on the surface level, but it's more than that, right?
It's more than that. It's more than that. They are trained either as peer support or mental health clinicians. They're not trained in law enforcement tactics. They don't carry weapons. So here's what I advocate. I mentioned co-response model. I advocate us working alongside one another because we know that these situations can turn on a dime. Right. Someone's having a mental health episode, whether they are off their medication or they're just spiraling out of control for whatever reason, could turn on a clinician who is not equipped to handle that. So I think law enforcement should be in the proximity or close by to make sure the clinician is safe and that person receiving the service remains safe. And again, it's part of my duties as according to the statutes to serve those involuntary commitment papers, to get those individuals to the hospital for an evaluation, to make sure they're safe, to remove any weapons from the home if weapons are there, to make sure they don't harm themselves or others. Right. And so to me, it makes sense to have a co-response model. And they have it in the city of Durham right now. Right. The Durham Police Department has an officer or two or three embedded with the HEART program. Right. So why not expand that same model to the county? And again, it keeps everyone safe. They get all the services that they need with one call. You need law enforcement, we're coming. You need someone who's a clinician, they're coming, because we're all coming together.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. The HEART program seems to be definitely a huge step in the right direction when it comes to community policing and just like community relations as a whole. The point about immigration, and you brought up the situation in Minnesota earlier this week, very tragic, right? And it did not have to happen.
Right.
When you have someone that's not from a community, it seems to be their care for that person's life may not be there, as opposed to if it was somebody that worked for ICE that was from Minnesota, right?
Right.
What can we do if we can at some point get ICE or whomever it is that ICE reports to in the room, and local law enforcement, what can we do to get them to say, hey, either maybe you recruit from us, right? See if there's, anybody that's already in law enforcement that might want to be an ICE agent or have some sort of role in that department, right? Because, most stuff you can work on from the inside. Typically that's a approach that most people take. But to me, it would just make sense that if I'm any sort of policing or anything I'm doing in any community, I should be working with the sheriff. I should be reaching out to that local chief of police. Why is that not connecting with them?
Well, it makes too much sense. And it doesn't further the political agenda that is at the forefront of what 47 is trying to do. They're not about serving the community. They're about removing those who are here illegally, whatever that means. Those who are not pure. I mean, this is what you hear them say.
Understood.
They're trying to purify America by removing the folks that look like you and me, the black and the brown.
What they call undesirables at one point in time, right? So we've seen this before.
Absolutely. We have. We've been here before. So what's going on right now is not about making our communities safe. It's about terrorizing our communities. And that's what they're doing. So they don't want to talk to sheriffs like myself. They don't want to deconflict and say, well, I'll give you an example. I've asked ICE to come and sit down and talk with me. And they refuse to. They refuse to. So if you are going after violent criminals in my jurisdiction, which is what I'm doing, right, through our work with Project Safe Neighborhoods, we are identifying the violent offenders to remove them. And it's about 3% of the population, really. So we don't have to do mass roundups to get those who are committing the violent crime.
Door to door isn't going to solve it.
It's not going to solve it. And so if that is your mission, to reduce violence, reduce drug distribution, to reduce the proliferation of guns and fentanyl in our community, why not work with the sheriff who's already doing the same thing?
That makes too much sense, like you said.
It makes too much sense. And so they've politicized immigration, and immigration should not be. This country was founded on immigrants. I don't want to give a history lesson, but this country was founded.
Right. It was on the Statue of Liberty. Bring us your tired, you're hungry, you're poor. Right. Ellis Island.
Right. And
I remember the stories. I remember learning about that. And there was it's almost like a different reality. I remember at one point in time that was our MO, that we wanted to be the place where people could come to. We wanted to be that example in the world. Right. And we have so many stories of families, in the early 90s, the 80s, immigrating to the United States and being a part of the American dream. Right. Now it seems as if you don't meet certain people's definition of an American, you don't have access to the American dream anymore.
That's right. Yeah. And to me, that's a tragedy. That's a tragedy of this country. This country's been the great melting pot for 250 years.
Right.
And I think where we are now, as long as this administration is in office, we're going to have to deal with this. And we're going to have to work with our congressmen and congresswomen, our local legislators to stand our ground and protect our community, because this is not the American way.
Right.
This is not the American way. And like you said a moment ago, we all came here either by hook or crook. We all came here looking for an opportunity to better ourselves,
right,
to better our families, and so that the next generation will have more opportunity than our ancestors had. And that's turning on its head right now. But as the sheriff of Durham County, I'm going to do everything I can to continue to keep my community safe, to stand in opposition against ICE and Custom Border Patrol enforcement coming into our community, wreaking havoc. And it's almost like when they come in and wreak havoc, then they're gone. I have to stay here and clean up the mess.
And you got to clean up the mess.
And I'm happy to do that, but it's unnecessary for me to have to clean up what they messed up.
No, understandable. One thing that came to my mind as you were speaking, because I'm all about working with like-minded individuals. I don't even know if something like this is possible. Is there a coalition of sheriffs? Would that make sense, that if the sheriffs across the country came together and said, listen, ICE, you got to meet with us. And if I got every sheriff from every county in all 50 states, I think that's a hard group to not want to move in alignment with.
It's a very powerful group. And to think about that amount of energy and political power from sheriffs, because all sheriffs are elected, would be phenomenal. The problem is they've politicized it. And so when you put politics in it, and now that sheriff has to be careful what he or she says.
Understood. Yeah.
Because they might get voted out.
Right.
Okay. But let me shine a bright light on some good stuff that's happening. There's an organization called Law Enforcement Immigration Task Force, which I'm a member of, have been for 5 years, working at the national level to address some of these issues that we're talking about today as it relates to immigration enforcement. It's doing great work. I was in Tennessee not too long ago on a panel talking about how ICE should be working with the local law enforcement, particularly sheriffs. And there are sheriffs who I meet with across this country who are doing the same thing. Some of them are on the Law Enforcement Immigration Task Force with me. So we're there. We're working on it. We're pushing it to say enough is enough. Let us police our communities. And if you have a list of folks that you don't think need to be in this country and they are committing violent crime, to me, that you got to have both. You got to have both. Let me know who they are. I have the resources to identify them, apprehend them, and prepare them for prosecution. And if you want them at the federal level, that's your job, not my job.
Right.
But we can work together and be so much more efficient and successful in ridding our communities of violent offenders.
Right.
And we do it every day in Durham. And we do it not with a heavy hand.
Right.
We do it through solid investigative techniques, our partnerships with state and local and federal law enforcement, because we've identified these individuals. That's the way you do it. And you just don't come in and disrupt an entire community because you think they're here illegal.
No, thank you. I appreciate you, putting a positive light on it and kind of moving us in a direction to maybe just kind of lighten things up a little bit. As I don't want to take your time, I don't want to keep the sheriff here all afternoon. He's got hard work to do, making sure the community's safe. But Sheriff, I got to ask you a very important question that the citizens of Durham need to know. If the sheriff's riding down the street and he sees the hot sign on at Krispy Kreme, is he going to stop at Krispy Kreme or is he going to drive to Mo Nuts?
Well, that hot sign is alluring.
Yes, Lord, that hot sign.
I would say without much thought, I'm attracted to the hot sign.
The hot sign.
Yeah. Mo Nuts, no disrespect. I'll get you on the next time.
Got you.
But when they hot, they right.
When they hot, they right. Hey, that's a quote right there.
So yeah.
That's a quote right there. No, Another question that kind of came up, like something that I could throw at you, on the job, if there was a person, whether dead or alive, let's say dead or alive, and you could have in the seat with you, riding around for a day, being the sheriff,
Ooh.
who would you pick to sit in the passenger seat with you?
Wow, that I'm gonna have to give that one some thought. you didn't send me that one either. But the answer is really not difficult. And I would probably have someone in the front and maybe one and maybe two in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because these are folks who are riding along with me.
Yes, sir.
Right. MLK will be right up front because of the work that MLK, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did in a nonviolent manner to change policing, to change how the Black and brown community is impacted. Because, led the civil rights movement, but it more importantly led a humanitarian movement. So, while the Black community was at the forefront, Martin Luther King espoused for humanitarian approach, studied under Gandhi, who would be sitting on my right shoulder in the back because of the way he presented himself, again, as a humanitarian, compassion, consistency, brotherly love. And then I'm gonna go ahead and give you the third one. He's sitting over here on my left, would be Malcolm X.
Wow.
Sometimes we got to come hard.
Wow.
We got to come out of our comfort zone.
You came the hardest with that one.
Yeah, and make people uncomfortable so we can make a difference, because we all want the same thing, and that's an opportunity to raise our families. And those three individuals have sort of guided me, philosophically in my journey as a law enforcement professional. And there are others, but those three come to my mind immediately from a historical perspective. And now there are leaders today who are doing some fantastic things. Yesterday, I had an opportunity to meet with the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries.
Yes, I saw that. This morning that he was here. Yeah. He was in the area yesterday.
So he too is someone that I would seek counsel from if I had the opportunity because of what he's doing and where he is and his message of inclusivity and the people and what's right for the people. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's somebody that I listen to.
My car's gonna be full.
Your car's full. Car full. When you brought up humanitarian, that just that term, and like you said, it seems like civil rights is just for the Blacks. That's not the case.
No,
you don't. Your civil rights, it wasn't for Black people, and that was the end all be all. Right. Civil rights was for every person that came into this country.
That's right.
Right? Everybody is going to be given due process.
That's right.
Everybody is going to be subjected to the laws and rules of this country, right? It's not civil rights, it's human rights.
That's right.
That we have been fighting for all that time.
That's right.
And I know somebody that used to say that all the time, Karen Hunter. She does the Sirius XM Urban View. So she's a big voice on there, somebody that I listen to daily. And she constantly, draws that comparison between civil rights and human rights. And I think it's very important that you understood that and you showed that with the three people that you put in your car with you.
Absolutely.
And so I appreciate you answering that question for us on the fly. And, as we kind of get ready for this final pour here, I want to give you an opportunity. Well, first of all, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for sitting down with me, answering these questions, not only talking about the difference between being the chief of police and the roles of a sheriff, but understanding that you are on the front lines for us pretty much here in Durham, helping us with ICE and dealing with this immigrant issues. Because we have it here. We have a large immigrant population here in Durham, North Carolina, period.
We do.
Right? So I want to thank you personally for the hard work that you've been doing there. And thank you so much for coming here today and talking to my audience. If there is, kind of a way to wrap this up, talk to my audience about Sheriff Birkhead's campaign right now and why he needs to be sheriff for the next 4 years.
Right. No, and I will start by saying thank you for the opportunity. And I am running for another term because we're not done.
Right.
While we've had great achievements over my first 2 terms, almost 8 years, we've got more to do. Obviously, we are still having gun violence in Durham. Obviously, we still have a homeless population that needs to be reached. We still have issues in our jail, folks who we need to help and to help them restore themselves to get back into the community. And I've served this community with distinction. And that's not to be boastful. That's just who I am. And so I'm asking the people of Durham County to give me another term to continue serving as your sheriff, to continue standing up against these oppressive laws and rules and executive orders to make sure the residents of Durham remain safe each and every day. And that's my commitment. I'm not done. I've got more to do. And I think and believe in my heart that this is my assignment. This is my assignment. This is not my job. This is my calling to serve the people of Durham County first and foremost, but my reach is beyond.
Right.
And again, when we talk about humanitarianism and serving the people, that's what I'm all about. And so I humbly ask the people of Durham County to give me your vote and give me the opportunity to continue serving as your sheriff, just at least 4 more years. It's at least 4 more years, because it's an honor and a privilege to occupy the highest elected office in Durham County, and that is the office of the sheriff.
Absolutely. You heard it right here, Whiskey Sticks and audience. Whiskey Sticks and Politics audience. We got Sheriff Clarence Birkhead here, running again for another term. He's done amazing work so far, and he's letting you know that he still has more that he wants to do for you. I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you for coming out. God bless you. Good night. And one of the things I want to present to you, I got some handiwork. And you know what? I think it might sit over here.
I may find a place to put that.
Put a patch on it for the Whiskey Sticks and Politics.
I see it. That looks great.
And that's just my emblem. And Sheriff, that's just a simple token from my department to you. And just want to thank you for sharing your time with my audience here today. And at any time we could be of service to you, where we could just get together and dialogue, maybe when you're not on the trail.
Sure.
And just make sure the people are connected to the hard work you're doing.
Absolutely. And thank you for what you're doing, for putting these voices out there, for putting your voice out there and developing this platform for the people, so the people can hear what we're doing. And so it's an honor, and I appreciate it.
It's been my absolute pleasure.
All right.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Whiskey, Sticks, and Politics with Rashad Sullivan.